Morning, everybody. Welcome back to the last honest place in Cincinnati media, if not America. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, brought to you by the good folks at CDM. Good morning to you. Amplifying Black voices in Cincinnati and beyond. Good morning. Good morning. Please take a second as you come in, fam, to like and share the show. Now, today's show is going to be a little bit shorter. I'll be with you. I got to make a move at around 9 a.m., although something might change between now and then. And we can do the full show. But for now, you've got me up until 9 a.m. And by 8:15, I will know whether I need to leave early or not. I mean, hey, what can I say? My apologies. I wish it was not that way, but it is. So I want to make sure we get it in this morning. I want to talk about numerous things. But for the first hour and to kick things off, I want to talk about what everyone else has been talking about here in the city of Cincinnati. Local media and people have been commemorating and reflecting and reporting about the uprising of 2001. It was 20 years ago. The death of Timothy Thomas sparked it all off. And your boy was around. Of course, I was a younger G in the media game, just getting started. But I want to share with you my observations and my thoughts and my feelings and my reflections about what happened 20 years ago. 20-year anniversary of Timothy Thomas's death was just yesterday. If you don't know, Timothy Thomas was an unarmed black man that was killed by a Cincinnati police officer. Basically, he was chased because he had a whole bunch of traffic violations. And they had like a dozen officers chasing this one black man through the streets of downtown Cincinnati over some damn traffic violations. And for anybody who says that nothing has changed, well, you just don't. Either you're ignorant, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but like ignorant as in the absence of information, or you're being lazy, like you're not really thinking about it, or you just don't fucking know. You just don't know. But a lot have changed. And some would argue that not enough has changed. So as we get started this morning, please lift up the show this morning, fam, and just like and share it. Your shares mean everything. It means more people will see the show. It means everything. Good morning to you. But I want to come at it from this angle. The worst thing about the uprising of 2001. This is just my personal opinion. You might agree, you might disagree, but I want to share with you this morning the worst thing about the uprising back in 2001. Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, this is me. Good morning to the show. Good morning to you. As I say, welcome to the show. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Friends and foes alike. You got some haters out there. You got people out there with different agendas and motivations. Y'all are welcome. Come on in. Come on in. There's the number right there, 513-873-7134. The worst thing about the uprising of 2001, and it was an uprising, like black people should never refer to what happened 20 years ago as a riot. It was not a riot. It was an uprising. I'll give you civil unrest, but what you saw was a revolt. That was a straight up revolt. Now, anytime you have these kind of social unrest, these uprisings, you always gonna have opportunists that try to take advantage of the situation. But that shouldn't cloud over what the majority are doing, and it shouldn't be a reflection of the majority. But I remembered I was in the streets. I remember, driving as much as you could in certain parts of the streets, just being on the streets, just being your eyes and ears on the streets. At that point, 20 years ago, I was in public radio. I had yet to go to commercial radio and was doing a weekly talk show that was gaining some traction, had a cult following. That was the first time I was ever interviewed on local media. It was doing 20 years ago during the uprising. Shout out to Regina Carswell. At that point, she was a news reporter here locally, and she interviewed myself and my partner at the time, and to get our observations about what was happening. At that point, I was in my 20s, right? So I was more a reflection. I was a more reflection of a lot of folks that you see out there in the streets. I was looking kinda. I was looking at some of the images from Cincinnati.com and just kind of looking at some of those images that their reporters took 20 years ago. And it was so interesting that I seen a lot of familiar faces. I seen a lot of familiar faces. And me, my style has always been consistent, man. I gave those people, the boycotters, all those people from those groups, I always gave them a lot of props because I grew to understand just what's at stake. Like there's really an untold story to this whole thing that mainstream media just doesn't have the depth to really cover on it. Like the backstory on how some of these people were dealing with issues on a job, all the hate, all the pressure they was dealing with. I mean, I'm not even here to tell you that I know all of it. I've just heard just bits and pieces here or there. So, all the people that was involved with those organizations 20 years ago, I have nothing but 20 years later, I have nothing but respect for you. Got nothing but respect for you. And again, we have to make sure we correct people. That was not a riot. It was not a riot. That was an uprising. And again, I'll give you social unrest. But to call it a riot, I think, is disrespectful to what really was going on. That's disrespectful. The mainstream white people, police, politicians, they might at the time have looked at it that way, but just because they call it something don't mean that we, the people, have to regurgitate it like we can't think for ourselves. So, no, it was an uprising. You go look up the definition. There's a clear difference. That's exactly what it was. I remember driving, so at that point, 20 years ago, my grandparents were still alive. I remember driving to my grandparents' house in Walnut Hills. I was at Peebles Corner, facing, I guess that would be facing, that's not really south. So I guess that would be facing east, like facing toward Walnut Hills. And I was on McMillan, right at the corner of McMillan and Gilbert. I'll never forget it. And there were no police around. It was lane to lane traffic. The traffic lights weren't working. Mofos was sitting outside their cars. It was wild. I never forget. I've told this story many times before. I remember looking to my side, to my left, and there was a white couple, male white, male female, to my left. And you could just see in their face, they was scared to death. I felt cool as hell. I didn't have no fear about nothing. I wasn't the target. And I remember there was a big conversation about the curfew and if the curfew was going to be equitably enforced, which it was not. Remember that? Like it was a citywide curfew, but people in Hyde Park were still out going shopping. Remember all of that? I remember the list of demands. Do you remember that list of demands? If anybody has a copy of that, can you send it to me? Because I'd like to talk about it this morning. Because I think that's an interesting element in this conversation. What was the list of demands 20 years ago? And then compare to where we are today. Like, did any of that happen? If not, why not? I'd like to get your thoughts on it. 513-873-7134 this morning. Hold on one second here. Hold on one second. Got a little gnat here in the studio. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. I know there's somebody out there that's got like some old newspaper clippings and things like that. I mean, of course, I do my due diligence to try to gather what I can in terms of social media and Google and all that kind of stuff. But And I do have a little bit of the list, but not the entire list. I remember it was in the front page of the Inquirer 20 years ago. It was the list of demands. There was a big conversation about it, even within the Black community. Like some of this stuff is more plausible than others. Remember that? But I want to just get straight to it, though. I mean, this is my opinion. The worst thing about the uprising of 2001. What was the worst thing about the uprising of 2001? This is just my opinion. Other people might feel this way, but they're just not in the position to say this. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. To me, the worst thing about the uprising of 2001 was the fact that it only happened once. That's the worst thing about it. We should have hit the streets half a dozen times more since then. That was the worst thing about it. The worst thing about the boycott that they were trying to put in place in Cincinnati is that we didn't do it longer, that we didn't keep it up. I mean, you could make an argument that there should be a boycott right now, quite honestly. I'm just being honest with you. I know nobody else has the stones to say this, but I mean, this is what you get. You get it straight, no chaser. That's the worst thing about the uprising of 2001 is that it only happened once. I mean, let's be real here. You know what I'm saying? People talk all this stuff about peaceful and non-peaceful, but when people start hitting the streets and turning shit over and lighting shit on fire, that's when people start paying attention. When you out here with a candlelight visual and it's peaceful, yeah, the media might show up, but don't nobody care about that shit. Ain't nobody paying attention to that. Stop me when I'm wrong. Now, I'm not advocating what you do either way. I'm just telling you the truth as I see it. That's the truth. When it's all like nice and polite and peaceful and we gonna sing songs, everybody. We gonna come down and sing songs. Yeah, people will show up and sing songs. The media might show up, take a few pictures, but they ain't gonna get no real steam from behind that. When people get angry and start posseing up, start defying, the law, hitting the streets, start lighting shit on fire, turning shit over, that's when people start paying attention. That's what I've seen. Now, you can tell me I'm wrong on that. 513-873-7134. We still talking about shit today. And that's because we only did it once. I'm not trying to encourage you to do anything. I'm just simply telling you how I look at it. You might disagree. You might agree. I think that the number one question that people should be asking themselves, and in particular, Black Cincinnatians should be asking themselves 20 years later, is what did you do? That should be the number one question that if you were an adult 20 years ago, right? Black, white, or whatever, let's say you're a non-Black person, but you're an ally, you're concerned. The number one question you should be asking yourself as you look at these 20 years is, what did I do? What have I been doing for the cause, for the movement, to push these issues? That's the number one question. Far too often, we always want to point the fingers with somebody else and what they should have did and what they didn't do and they could have did this. Are you grown? What are you doing? That's the number one question that people should be asking themselves as we reflect. Black people in particular should be asking themselves, like, if you were an adult 20 years ago, the number one question, in my opinion, you should be asking yourself is not what any of these organizations did, not what the city did, not what John Cranley did or didn't do with that now infamous city council meeting. And oh, by the way, he's the mayor now. So how the hell can that be progress? The number one question you should be asking yourself is, self, what have I been doing over the last 20 years? That's the number one question. And if the answer is nothing, then you got work to do. You got work to do, period. We passed the buck too much. We're always looking for somebody else to do some shit. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? No. What you gonna do? That's the real question. And I'll say it again. This is my personal opinion. You might agree or disagree. You know I'm your agent provocateur, your friendly neighborhood agent provocateur. I want to get you thinking this morning. To me, the worst thing about the uprising of 2001 is that it only happened once. If it had happened more times, it would have took us more seriously. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? 513. Oh, it's a hell of a statement, because I mean, you're not supposed to say those kind of things in Cincinnati. That ain't Cincinnati polite. Man, please. Keep it real. Keep it 100 with me today. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers today. I might lose a few friends, but it is what it is. You was fake anyway. If you jumping off because of something I say, you was fake anyway. Period. Simple as that. Stop me when I'm wrong. What do you think? What do you think? 513-873-7134. I'll say it again. The number one problem with the uprising, not the riot, because language matters. Language matters. Language matters. Let's be intelligent about it. Is that it only happened once. That's the number one problem. Had we hit these streets more times than that, they would have took us more seriously. Some of them demands, some of the issues we still trying to get, I feel like we could have maybe made some inroads on that. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. Again, I already know this ain't the polite thing to say. You're supposed to say, oh, no, we don't want to see that anymore, right? All that. I'm keeping it real with you this morning. Keep it real with me. Keep it real with me this morning. Tell me what you think at 513-873-7134. Good morning, everybody. Hold on one second here. That's funny. So, but what do you think though? 513-873-7134. So I think I'm coming at this from two approaches. If you were an adult when this happened in 2001, as you reflect 20 years later, the question you should be asking yourself personally is, what did I do? What have I been doing for the cause, for any of these issues? Because a lot of people benefited from the actions of these individuals. You know what I'm saying? And still got shit to say and still got scorn and all this kind of stuff. I don't understand it, but I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your thoughts about it. Do I think that we've made some strides? I would have to say yes. I do think we have made some strides. Do I think that we could have gone further? Yeah, I think we could have gone a whole lot further. We could have gone a whole lot further. But you tell me what you think. Again, props to all the individuals involved with that movement and then organizing around it and behind it. Again, I mean, a lot of these folks had to deal with pressures and a whole lot of stuff that will never come out. But I found a news article from the Cincinnati Business Courier from 2003, and it was listing some of the demands. And I thought it was interesting to look at what the demands were in 2003 and then compare it to what we're dealing with right now, right here, in modern times. Okay, thank you, appreciate you. So, that's how I look at it. I think that whatever we as a community do, we got to look at the I first. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be. What did Michael Jordan say? There's no I in team, but there's an I in win. So if a win is, liberation, equity, whatever you want to call it, for our community. And again, while it appears, and it should be this way, that, Black people's issues were the tip of the spear, like everybody benefits. Everybody's benefited from the work that these people have done. Everybody, Black, white, you live in Cincinnati, everybody's benefited. So that's how I look at it. Tell me your thoughts about it. 513-873-7134. Okay. That's just how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? I can't shit on somebody that's out here in the streets and I'm not out there. I can't do that. I can't do that. Other people can. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just built a little differently. Maybe you're not. Okay, maybe you got a different opinion. You might be like, "Oh, Nate, no, that'd have been wrong. Another social unrest, right? Another uprising. That would have been a worse thing for the city." Well, I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of full frontal conversations. I'm a big fan of confronting issues. I'm a big fan of that. You know what I'm saying? In my personal life, professional life, I think there's actually advantages to it. There's way more advantages than disadvantages. I'd rather confront something straight on than to act like something's not an issue and then deny it. I mean, one of those options is not even a real option for me. It's not even a real option for me, right? But you tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. I want to get your thoughts about everything that's happened. It's quite interesting that, it was 20 years ago with Timothy Thomas and his death. And there were a lot of unarmed black men that got killed leading up to Timothy Thomas's death. That's why it was a cumulative effect. What happened 20 years ago was a cumulative effect. It was the cumulative effect of people being oppressed and their voices not being heard. That's what happened. And I'll be honest with you, for me, and I might just be alone on this, and I'm friendly with the mayor. I'm friendly with John Cranley. When I see him, we speak. It's always friendly, but I keep it real with you. And part of me, I feel like it's a failure that he's the current mayor, considering what went down in that city council meeting many, many years ago. But I felt that before he was elected. That's just me. Again, I look at things a little differently, admittedly. We are where we are. I get it. But I'm just saying, what's your take on the issue? All right. Let me start with my choppers this morning. Let me get in here. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Happy Friday Eve. Yeah, it is. It is. Happy Thursday. Tracy writes, hi. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Politically Petty Show writes, morning, Nathan and Choppers. Hashtag flows, rated E for everybody. Hashtag haters are my motivators. You should check out the podcast because Glenn he's equal parts insightful and also very funny. He's very, very funny as well. Brandy writes, good morning. Brenda writes, happy Thursday. Ray writes, here. Sharp writes, Miss Rowley called an uprising, but LW like using the riot word. Is that right? Okay. Politically Petty writes, everybody was using that word, not just LW. To be fair, he was the only voice out there in the community for those protesting to speak publicly. They weren't hearing that on the white stations. Let's be real. Well, I've never called it a riot, and I was 20 years younger. No, that's not what it was. Anybody that's calling what happened 20 years ago a riot is one of several things, and it's bar none. They are either being lazy intellectually, they're not really thinking, they're just talking, right? Or they're just ignorant and they just don't know. Or they're trying to change the narrative. It's just one of those three things. And that goes for anybody. I don't care who it is, across the board. It's one of those three things. Either they're trying to change the narrative, because some folks want it to be called a riot. Because if it's a riot, then we can deny, right, what their issues were. Mm-hmm. Then some people are just intellectually lazy. They don't really think before they open their mouth. They just blah, blah, whatever comes out, right? And then some people, what was the third one? I can't remember. Noble Drew Ali writes, rise and shine, young stars. Margie writes, good morning. You are so on point. I don't know if she's saying that. Will continue working on the issues that were still and are important to me. I continue wanting our people taking care of their health, wanting their children educated, informed, participating in the voting process and a living wage. Pat writes, good morning. Oh, 100%. I think the words matter, especially about something as sensitive as the social unrest. Like, I'll give you social unrest. I'll give you that. For me, it was an uprising. It was a straight up revolt from the people who had enough. They had been they were being killed, beaten, asphyxiated, shot by the same people they paying, the police. For years and years and years, people was going to City Hall and was basically just getting the Barry Sanders stiff arm. And that's what happened. Period. 100%. What's up, Nadir? We got to catch up, man. I 100% want to do that. 100%. I just been super. It's a lot of stuff going on. I was just looking at a new spot potentially that I like, actually, for a new studio space as we break with COVID. Like I said, I got big plans for what we're doing here, and that requires more space. Moving for what we're doing here at the home office and moving into a more centralized space. So it's been a lot of stuff going on. I will definitely reach out and we can make that happen, brother, for sure. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Do you agree with me? This is just my opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. This is just me. To me, the worst thing about the uprising of 2001 is that it only happened once. That's the worst thing about it. It should have happened more. If it had happened more, then I believe that a lot of the issues would have been addressed in a more serious manner. And I said it because, peaceful, nonviolent. I mean, I get you. We should all be peaceful, nonviolent. But in my observation, those kind of, moments don't get the same play. They're not taking it seriously as when people get mad, tempers are flaring. People are not responding directly to the commands of the police. They in the streets. When that happens, everybody's watching. When it's peaceful, it's kind of like, oh, it's like a news story you don't click on. Oh, there was a vigil at Grant Park today. You just keep on going. You scrolling down. You don't even lie. You don't even click on it. Tell me I'm wrong. And not just here in the city, but across the country. Could be anywhere in the world for all I know. I don't know. But let me go straight to the phones. Straight to your comments here on Facebook and YouTube. Anthony writes, morning, choppers. Charles writes, Grand Rising's Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Charles. The Politically Petty podcast show is in the house. He writes, Spader and neuter all wolves and Gilligans. Oh, fame don't like it when you say that. Why is he talking about my junk? I can hear him already. Jerome writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. That was a spot-on Fame Rothstein impersonation, by the way. Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Brenda writes, good morning from Fairfield. Good morning to you, Brenda. Ryan's in the house. Ryan writes, man, I was at People's waiting for the 4 bus at that time. It was crazy. Yeah, I remember. It was wild. Just imagine just social order just breaking down. I seen people breaking into places and stuff. I think you had Devereaux's over there. Devereaux's was vandalized. I didn't partake in all of that because I can buy my own sneakers, but people did it. And, then what happened is people want to focus more on the people that's doing bad stuff than the people that's out there righteously, demonstrating and protesting because their voices are being denied. But that's just the game of the oppressor. Let's be honest here. We understand that. Nat writes, good Thursday morning, choppers. Hey, Casey. Casey's in the house. Good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Sending positive, powerful vibrations to you all. I'm here for that. Tracy's in the house. She writes, I remember being at a funeral in the West End and racing back to Forest Park before 6 p.m. That's my other question, Tracy, and thank you for sharing. For folks who are old enough, you are an adult, or you just remember, what's your most, what's your biggest takeaway from the 2001 uprising? What do you remember most about it? What do you remember most about it as we reflect here? And do you agree with me? Or do you disagree with me? Sister Iris writes, it happened for 3 days. Mm-hmm. Roy writes, good morning, everyone. Kathy writes, good morning. Politically Petty writes, problem is people were lighting their own shit on fire. How much sense does that make? I'm just saying. Were they though? Were people? I don't remember people lighting their own stuff on fire. Like people were lighting their own homes on fire. I don't remember that. Sister Iris writes, that is a great question. I think she means like the question, like, what are you doing? Yeah, that's the number one way that any adult should apply to any situation. I don't care what it is. What are you doing? What have you done? What could you do as an individual? There's nothing more powerful and empowering than that question, right? That's a very, very empowering way to look at things. What can I do? What can I do different? It's on me. And again, you already know, I would bet on me anytime any day. That's why I love poker, because it's all about me. Nakia writes, make it happen, Nate. Alicia writes, good morning. Samantha writes, good morning, all. She writes, we needed you, Nathan Ivy, and we needed you. I saw some images of a young Iris Rowley out there, her and her husband on the front line 20 years ago. Her, Damon Lynch. I'm like, I remember those days. Still out there. Still out there. And I think what we're seeing is that endurance and stamina is a big part of change, in my opinion. Hey, what's up, Dominique? What's up with you, brother? Minister of Information, how you doing? He says the Minister of Information is back. Good to see you, man. Welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad you're safe out there. I know you're doing your thing. The real Cincy riot was 1967. I don't even think that was a riot. That was an uprising, in my opinion. Mr. Avery writes, morning. Good morning to you. Say Rod, and I think he's running for council. Think so, bro. I got to get you on. We want to hear all about your platform. Again, memo to anyone running for city council. I would love to talk with you here first on the Nathan Ivey Show. So if anybody knows anybody running, I'll be doing my due diligence to reach out to everybody, but you can let them know ahead of times. You open, the door is open. You know what I'm saying? The door is open because we want to hear from you. Carmelita writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers with a Z. Hold on, where's the Chopper music, man? I'm be slacking on I'm slacking. I am slacking. Hold on one second here. Oh, here it is. I am slacking. Where we at? Get to the Choppers. Where we at here? No, that's not it. Here we go. Oh, get to the Choppers! Exactly. Get to the Choppers. Okay. Crystal writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Crystal. Thank you for your support in the friends page. I appreciate you. Darlene writes, hi, Nate, and happy Thursday to everyone. Janine writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Maurice writes, glorious resurrection. Did you know that Haiti only has 13,000 deaths compared to hundreds of thousands of deaths in the United States? You mean due to COVID? David writes, the riot was on January 6th, Capitol building. Now you talking. Maurice writes, that was for the coronavirus, right? Rashara, right? Hey, good to see you, Rashara. Good to see you. She writes, good morning. Let me see. Politically Petty writes, but you listen to LW every day, call this show to promote your movement, then complain and hate in the same breath. Nakers killed me, shaking my head. I'm not aware of what happened. See here. Sarah writes, they always want to attach riot to black folks. Exactly. And that's why I say the language matters. The language matters. It matters. And again, this is an observation. Ever since it happened, we've been having this conversation about what to call it, which I think is ridiculous, but we are where we are. Cleopatra Jones writes, Grand Risings, Nathan Ivey and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Pardon me. Hey, what's up, Dr. E? What up? Good to see you. Tiff writes, good morning. Sarah writes, good morning, brother Nathan and my Chopper family. Good to see you. Tracy writes, I remember the curfew for us and not for them. Right. It was selectively enforced. Remember, the mayor said he wished he had put at the time was Lucan. He said he wished he had put the curfew in even sooner. I guess Cincinnati doesn't, and mayors don't necessarily have a positive history when it comes to dealing with protesters in the street. I mean, who's surprised that John Cranley, what was it? Dale Mallory, it was Judge Mallory just dismissed charges against a lot of people that were arrested during the unrest last summer because the white male Democrat mayor, current mayor, John Cranley, decided to just unilaterally impose a curfew, and he trampled on people's civil liberties and their rights. Yeah. Good to have a Democrat in office, though, right? Speaking of the Democrats, man, this whole thing, and again, I have to reach out and see if we can't get Gwen McFarland or some of the other folks in the Democrat Party to talk about this. I'm sure they have their reasons behind it, but there is a little bit of a controversy, not even a little bit. There is a potential controversy on the horizon as it relates to the Democrat Party and candidates, because the Democrats don't want, if you're going to get the Democrat endorsement, then you can't get an endorsement for anybody else. And something happened within the last 48 hours that's going to push that even more. And a lot of people are saying the name Cam Hardy. We know Cam's one of the Choppers. He might be listening right now. And so basically, if you want the Democrat endorsement for city council, and the charter committee or anybody, what does that mean for the FOP or the Sentinels? Can they not give you, or is it just political parties? I don't know what it means with these endorsements, but that's going to be interesting because a lot of people are looking at Cam Hardy like, you know what? He's got a lot of momentum, and he would be a good person for the Democrats to endorse. Also considering some of their most recent scandals, the stuff that happened with PG Sittenfield, Tamaya Denard. If you're the Democrat Party, then you need candidates that's going to represent you in a really, really positive way. Some people are saying that's Cam Hardy. and he was given an endorsement by the charter committee. We'll have to see if he disavows that. That just recently happened with a she actually was a commissioner for a short time. I'll talk about it later though. That's going to be interesting locally to see how that all shakes out and what that really means for the upcoming election. Politically petty writes, honestly believe it was fired and subject and harassment at the old job because of what happened in 2001. I refused to stay silent and they didn't like that. I was pre-scusted in 2001. Oh, you was pre-scusted? That's hilarious. Pre-scusted. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. I can see people getting, some hate on the job because you vocal, like, yeah, they should have hit the streets. And then, people at the job is looking at you like, we got us a Black Panther here. So last thing we want is a Black Panther and you're vocal. Oh, you're going to have to go. You got to go. Dr. E writes, I remember the liberation activists emerging such as Dwight Patton, Iris Rowley, Reverend Lynch, and a sister who moved to Louisville and others. Absolutely. Props to all of them. Most deaf. Charlie Winbur's in the house. He writes, if you can just feel good each day, you can have anything that you want in life. Good morning, wonderful people. Same to you. Good to see you, brother. Come on in. Kamara's in the house. Good to see you, Kamara. She writes, good morning. Good to see you. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Sister Riot is a legal term and for insurance purposes. Okay. Makes sense. On some levels. Regina writes, good morning, good people. It was simply Black folks just fed up then and now. No riots. Exactly. It was Black people fed up. To me, that's the definition of an uprising. That's what it was. But to call it an uprising, I think in the minds of some people gives too much credibility to the people that were actually, doing the uprising. I'll say it again and I stand by this. The worst thing about the 2001 riots is that it only happened, uprising, is that it only happened once. That's the worst thing about it. That's the worst thing about it. Had it happened more over the years, when there were equally as disturbing incidents that had happened, I feel like this city would be in a much better place. Now, it could just be me. You might be like, nah, Nate, why would we want to do that? What about the businesses? I completely understand that viewpoint. And I'm here for the conversation. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong. Family, set me straight. I'm always open to be corrected by my folks. Always. Jeffrey writes, what up, Nate? From Jeffrey Prather, Hamilton, Ohio, longtime listener. What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Maurice writes, the U.S. is allowing children for, okay, you talking about something else. Brian's in the house. He writes, good morning. Hey, Brian, we got to catch up, brother, for sure. I'm down for that. The answer is yeah. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Oh, most definitely. Let me see. Dr. E writes, Abargani, everyone. Good to see you. Angela writes, do people in 2021 even have an uprising in their bones, or has complacency set in? Well, I think history would say that complacency is set in. Or maybe not. Again, I'm interested in what you think. I'm much more interested in what you think than what I think, because I know what I think. I know how I feel about it. I'm interested in how you feel about it. That's what I want to know. Noble Drew Ali writes, happy birthday to Buddha. Okay. Dale writes, the book Red Summer is a great read, Choppers. Ray writes, Nathan, some dens will go for the juggler. Dale writes, the real riots were in 1919. It started April of 19 in Georgia, when Lewis Ruffin was defending himself from the county sheriff, and he killed the sheriff, and word got to the white folks of that town, and the white folks rioted and killed Black folks in that town, including Lewis Ruffin's two sons. Then riots went on from there all across the country with similar circumstances, sparking riot into the summer that year, calling it Red Summer. I feel you. I feel you. I'm aware of the Red Summer. I'm sure there's a lot of details I'm not aware of, but generally speaking, I'm aware. I get it. What do you think? Again, 513-873-7126. 3, 4. And then having said all of this morning, as we sit here on April the 8th, 2021, this whole conversation begs the question, what are we going to do now? See, we can't really go back and relive the last 20 years. What has happened has happened. What is, it is done. It is over, family. But what we can do is move forward. What we do have control over is what we do moving forward. So again, it begs the question, what are you going to do? Like, your actions may not look like my actions. They may not look like Sister Iris's actions or somebody else out there, the NAACP's actions. It might be something that's completely personal to your skill set, experiences, and whatever you have to bring. But the question remains, what are you going to do? Like, if you feel like Cincinnati is not as equitable as it should be, primarily for Black people, it begs the question, what you going to do about it? What are you willing to do about it? What are you willing to do about it? That's what the question is. I think that's the most empowering thing I can leave you with this morning, because we should go back and remember the last 20 years. We should reflect on it. We should talk about it. We should hold ourselves accountable for what we did and what we didn't do. At the same time, I fully acknowledge that we cannot relive it. It's over. We can learn from it and then put something in action moving forward. And that's all we can do at this point. And I think talk is one thing and rhetoric is one thing and action is a completely different thing. You know, like right now, people are outraged about George Floyd and this trial and everything. And you should be outraged. The testimony looks super damning, don't it? It seems like an open and shut case. But as I sit here right now, I still remain unconvinced that he's going to be found guilty of anything. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of fake liberty, right? We already know. But what we can do is try to learn from these situations and then use that outrage and put it into real actions where we live. So if you live in Ohio, you live in Cincinnati, you live in Hamilton County, put it in place there. If you live in, let's say, Cleveland, put it in place there. If you live in Philadelphia, put it in place there. If you live in Detroit, put it in place, put those actions in place in Detroit. You know, this doesn't have to be sort of like a powerless situation where we just got to deal with it. It don't have to be that way. Just my thoughts on it. I'm just spitballing this morning. I just want to provoke some thought this morning, get you thinking, start your day right. That's what I'm all about. Angela writes, I know people are reactionary, but aside from that, not sure. Angela writes, I'm full of conversation starter questions. Let me see. See, Letitia writes, riot don't help, hence GASRO 202. Maurice writes, in revolution is always death. Many of us talk too much, not willing to be a true revolutionary. What's up, bud? Okay. You good? He rolled off his bed last night a couple times. I don't know how you do it. He's 6. It was 2 times. You good? Come on here. You good, man? You sure? Okay. You hit your head? No? He said, He's good. All right. Yeah, in the middle of the night, we just hear screaming. I'm like, what in the hell has happened now? You know what I'm saying? Sister Iris writes, please study your history. Kush writes, I was installing the roof on City Hall during the uprising. I saw everything, even the meetings before the meetings. Really? Is that right? Again, I'm interested. If you were around Cincinnati, I want to know what's the memory that sticks out in your mind. I'll share with you. I was at People's Corner, the corner of Gilbert and McMillan, and it was just complete. Just, you know, the lights weren't working, the street lights weren't working. There were no police around. Nigwas was out here wilding out. They was wilding out. I had no problem with it. I completely understood it. Enough was enough. I got it. And it was It was something. I think that the city and even the police have learned from it. Hopefully, I think there's been a lot of things that have changed since then. I don't think it's fair to say that nothing has changed. I think that would be lazy. I think that's lazy. Anybody that has that opinion, it really hasn't. They really haven't looked at it deeply enough. I don't think that's fair to say. Like things have changed. Has enough changed? No, but things have changed. There have been some advances. Um, yeah, I think I definitely feel comfortable in standing by that one. Politically petty writes the civil rights era leaders actually brought plans to the tables. They did more than talk and encourage people to get involved in the system, but also change the system from within. So I found this article. This was written by Dan Monk back in 2003, way back in 2003. And there was a list of demands. There was a list of demands by the people that were on the front lines and back in 2003, back in that time. And they put together a list of issues of that they wanted the city to address that they thought would bring more equity and they thought was long overdue. In this particular article, it reads about Charlie Lukin, who at that point was the mayor. And let me just read it to you. Cincinnati Mayor Charlie Lukin said a new list of demands from boycott groups would require more than $6 billion in new public and private sector spending, changes to the city of Cincinnati's charter, and concessions from federal prosecutors. Lukin was responding to a March 28th story in the Business Courier in which one boycott leader, Reverend Damon Lynch III, said the three groups protesting racial disparities in Cincinnati had pared down and consolidated their list of demands. I remember when the list came out, it was a lot of conversation about, oh, you asking for too much. Oh, the list is too big. The list is too vague. The list is too this. The list is too that, right? I even partaked in the conversation. I can't lie to you because that was the conversation at the time. People were like, it was a big conversation about whether the demands were either comprehensive enough or went too far, right? Either it went too far, or didn't go far enough, basically. Let me read. This is just a short page of this is a short list of what those demands are. I'm still searching for all of it, but here's some of what was reported by the Cincinnati Business Courier. Okay. The group lists 8 economic demands, including, again, this is written in 2003, calling for state and federal investigations into racial discrimination and disparities in the distribution and use of federal, state, and local funds managed by the city's housing and economic development departments, settling all discrimination and civil rights complaints and lawsuits filed by African American city workers, ending discriminatory lending practices by local lending institutions by updating and enforcing current city ordinances on the topic and creating a new city office, the Office of Community Reinvestment Act and Fair Lending. They also have some political reforms, a charter change requiring the election of city council members by district or proportional representation, both of which are sought to improve the prospects of Black political candidates. Restore a campaign finance issue that would give city matching funds to council candidates. Increase public access to local television for political campaigns. Let me see. The city council resolution seeking federal prosecution of policemen who have killed unarmed African American citizens and policemen who did drive-by shooting of innocent women and children outside the Timothy Thomas funeral. What happened there? Drive-by shooting of innocent women and children outside the Timothy Thomas funeral. What happened there? I know somebody knows what happened. Now there were more. That's just what was in this article that I came across this morning. I don't know. I mean, are some of those things in place? They're not in place. I mean, in terms of the political reforms, I mean, what was it? Fair Cincinnati? They came out with a plan, 2-3 years ago that dealt with proportional representation because they thought that districts or a hybrid type of system would give more representation to the community, which I think from an intellectual standpoint, I'm interested in hearing more. I mean, why do we keep on doing the same old thing and then complaining about not getting representation? Why don't we change the system and then see if it works? I'm down with that. I got no problem with it. Again, if anybody has a more comprehensive list of what those demands are, I'd be interested in looking at it because I'm just curious to see how many of those things have been put in place, how many of them have not, and if so, what is it? I think that'd be very, very interesting. I think it'd also be interesting to compare what Black people thought was important in 2003 and then compare it to what black people think is important than where we are now in 2021. I think that'd be hella interesting. I think it'd be hella interesting. Like if you go back and compare, we talk about black agendas. If you go back and look at some of those early black agendas, like, like the 10-point plan from the Black Panther Party, if you go back and look at that and then compare it to what the issues are today, you see a lot of similarities. It's interesting, unsettling, and damn near sad that what black people thought was important and was asking for in the late 1960s, black people in some cases still haven't achieved in the new millennium, right? It's a damn shame. It is a damn shame. So I would like to look at that from that lens in the city of Cincinnati. I don't know. I do remember that there was a conversation back then about doing more discrimination, studies. I know people have different opinions about that. I'm in favor of those racial disparity studies, Croson, whatever else, because you got to quantify the problem in some cases. It makes your argument stronger when you got the analytics and the data behind you, right? And I think that there was a conversation about doing some kind of study like a couple years back. And they said it was going to cost $1 million. City council approved it, but they said, well, we don't have any money. And I do know there's some money on the table right now with this COVID relief money. I wonder if that's something they could spend it on. I don't know. Again, I'm spitballing here. I'm more interested in what you think than what I think. Okay. I'm way more interested because I know what I think. Let me see. Maurice writes, dude might walk on the world tonight with Kelly Wright. They tried to make George Floyd look like a dope fiend and being crazy. I did see that, Maurice. Again, that's what a good defense attorney is supposed to do. He ain't trying to judge the morality of his client. He's trying to get his client off. He's trying to get the best deal for Derek Chauvin. That's their job. Okay, I get it. I would never take that job, but I get it. And I did see they had the audio clip when he said something about I ate too many drugs or something like that. But I think one has nothing to do with the other, in my opinion. I don't care if his stomach was full of drugs. That has nothing to do with David Chauvin putting his knee on this man's neck for 9 minutes. One has nothing to do with the other, in my opinion. But we already know they're going to put George Floyd on trial. They're going to try to make him seem like he was the most reprehensible individual that was addicted to drugs. Again, just because you take drugs don't mean you deserve to be killed by the police. But they got some people out there convinced that it does. Some people think that because you had drugs in your system, oh, well, if the police choked you out and stomped on your neck and beat the hell out of you and took your rights away, well, you shouldn't have been on drugs. I'm not one of those individuals. Okay, that's not me. Listen, before we go any deeper in the show, family, I want to make sure that I tell you about today's sponsor. Today's show is being sponsored by renewcommunitychurch.org and their Focus 2021 series. They are kicking something new off in the calendar year 2021. They want to inspire you. They want to give you resources and strategies so you can live your best life. And to that end, they are offering a 142-page ebook that you can download today. It is free and available for my listeners. There is a link in today's description on Facebook and YouTube where you can find it. And while you're going through the process, you can sign up for 30 minutes of free professional coaching. Have you ever had a professional coach? Have you ever had a business coach? I would say don't knock it before you try it. I've heard great things about those kind of relationships. Now, here's the thing, family. Today is Thursday. Now, the ebook will be available to you whenever you want to download it into the near future. But just because the time and space is limited, they're going to close the window for the 30 minutes of coaching starting Friday. So Friday is the last day. Let me put it that way. Friday is your last day. Saturday is too late. Sunday is too late. Monday is too late. Friday is the last day if you want to get signed up for coaching. Now, if you've already gone through the process and you haven't received any kind of notification, it might be because you didn't fill out all of the forms. They have a waiver form that they need you to fill out. It is a part of the process. So if that describes you like, hey, I signed up, no one's called me, you might want to check back to make sure you signed the waiver. If not, sign it quickly so you can secure your space. All right. Again, there's a link in today's description, and you can use that to download the ebook and also sign up for the coaching as well. And when you do, call me and let me know, or hit me with a text message and let me know. I want to know what you think about it. Sister Iris writes, we created Boycott Council. Charlie Wimber writes, I am about helping my people with leadership, education, and economics. Right now, Renew Community Church is in partnership with K-8 school and childcare, and we conduct leadership development classes. Again, like I said, I mean, they're out here trying, they are here, not trying, they are providing, opportunities for the community. If you feel inclined to do so, make sure you get connected, stay connected. Again, there's a link in today's description today. You can check it out for yourself and then tell me what you think. Could be for you, could not be for you. You let me know. Daryl writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Good morning to you. Sister Iris writes, ask somebody at Nathan Ivy. Maurice writes, what does dark brown to light brown skin people need? Wait. Why does dark brown to light brown skin people need civil rights? Crystal writes, is serve still a thing? I don't think so, but I'm sure there's other folks who got way more information than I do. Maurice writes, we had elders in the 1800s that were congressmen before the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Yeah, we might have one or two. Iris writes, the police did a drive-by of people leaving the services of Timothy Thomas. Yeah. Now, were they shooting them with the bean bags, the rubber bullets? Is that what it was? I remember that. Now, why would the hell they do something like that? The hell? Amazingly, still cops killing black men. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, listen, the cops got a job to do, but it's a job with rules, and they got to follow the rules too. They have to follow the rules too, 100%. Sarah writes, they always want to attach a price tag to our issue. $6 billion, a scare tactic, while at the same time using our tax dollar to gentrify our communities. Great. Agreed, right. Oh, we can't do this. It's too much money, right? Meanwhile, spending money on other things. Janice writes, I was active in my union, working diligently to assure fair wages and working conditions to help make people's lives better. Everyone must get in where they are most effective. Right. I totally agree with that. Like, what one person is doing may not be what another person does. I totally understand that. But the question remains 20 years later. What have you been doing? Like, if you're somebody who's like outraged and you're conscious and you woke and you were an adult back in the early 2000s and you're conscious about what happened, you understand it. The question remains, what have you been doing for the last 20 years? That's the first question. The next question, and when it gets really challenging, is this, family. What are you prepared to do for the next 20 years? Because I say it again, I think it's really important for us to do a post-mortem, right? To analyze the bones, to go over everything that happened. I think there's a real functionality to that. But we can't relive the last 20 years. What we can do is set the tone for the next 20 years. You feel me on that? That's really what it's all about, in my humble opinion. Okay? I'm not trying to say I'm number one on the streets and leading the charge. I don't have to fake the front and be anything than what I am. I'm not saying that. What I'm simply saying is, as a black man, I can't point a finger at somebody else before I point the finger at myself. And I'll be honest with you, family, if more black people in particular, but people in general in Cincinnati had that kind of attitude, man, some of these issues we dealing with, we would have been solved these issues. We would have been got to the bottom of this stuff. I really feel that in my heart. Not to say there aren't a lot of good, smart, intelligent black people and white people and all kinds of people in Cincinnati. Like I know some white folks that have died for the cause. I know some non-black folks that do more than black people would do for black people. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, okay, we having this moment. Okay, it's good as well. We should talk to everybody and talk to the major players. We should give people their flowers. We should go over what we did right, what we did wrong, and then put it in place for the next 2 decades. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cincinnati to me has so much awesome potential, so much potential, so many great things going on in this city. let's make sure everybody gets a piece of that pie. Everybody get a chance to enjoy the Renaissance. That's just that's the way I look at it. Okay, that's just the way I look at it. Keem writes, the same folks that say Floyd shouldn't have been on drugs be the same folks pleading for Narcan to save their loved ones. And then let me say this something else, man. We have a unique opportunity here. Like, we got some folks that, got some sway in this city that's part of the audience. You know what I'm saying? We got the Hamilton County Treasurer. It's an interim position, we get it. But we got the Hamilton County Treasurer that comes into the chop shop every morning. For people that's got these ideas, y'all should be hitting them up. Y'all should be hitting them up with some ideas. You know what I'm saying? Trying to have a power lunch. Talking about policy. Talking about equity. The brother's here every morning. So, I know we having fun and all that kind of stuff, and it should definitely be about fun. We always going to do that. But I'm saying is we have an amazing opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure that we take it. And that might not be for everybody. It might, but I know there's somebody that's got some good ideas. There's somebody out there that's got some ideas on how we can move the needle. It might not even be race specific. It might not just be for Black folks. It might just be for homeowners. It might just be for people in Cincinnati in general. That's gravy. We ain't going to turn that down. I'm just saying we got to take these opportunities when we get them. You know what I'm saying? Why we have these opportunities. I'm just telling you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Good morning to you. Okay, Sister Iris says she's emailing me that. Oh, that'd be great. I want to take a look at that. I just want to compare and contrast. I want to compare it to, what Black people on the front lines of these issues thought many years ago. And then what are our issues today? How much movement have we really made? Like, we can't really have a real conversation about then and now if we're not comparing what the issues were then to what the issues are now. We could look at it and say, oh, check out all the boxes. Oh, shit, we did all of this. Okay, great. Or we could look at it and say, oh, remember this? Damn, we forgot that. Or we never hit this. It might be something that could give us, it could be a source of inspiration for ideas today. I'm just saying it could be that way. I guess what I'm trying to say at the end of the day, family, is that we have way more power than we use. We got way more power together than as individuals. Thank you. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, I remember. Man, I had a copy of this for years. For years. Hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Somebody just sent me a screenshot of it. Quite interesting. Yeah. I think I'll share this with everybody. Hold on one second here. I have to take it from my phone and put it in my computer. I'll do it before we leave today. 513, and then we can compare and contrast some of the issues then and then compare it to what the issues are now. Did we check off all the boxes? Or are there some things some room for growth? Because that's all it really is. It's a room for growth. It's a room for growth. Does the city of Cincinnati still have room for growth? Yes. Nobody is going to disagree with that. I don't care who they are, Black, white, FOP, Sentinels. Everybody's going to say we got room for growth. So if we all agree there's room for growth, then why aren't we growing? Let's go ahead and handle this then. Let's take care of these issues so we can build a better Cincinnati for everybody. For everybody. Maurice writes, do something to get our youth off the streets. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just read this story, man. This is a local story to Cincinnati where a 14-year-old was indicted or charged with being a part of like a murder for hire spree. Apparently, he and a couple of other folks was getting paid to commit murders. 14 years old. I'm like, what in the hell? If my daughter's 15, her mentality to kill somebody, she ain't got that kind of mentality. What the hell happened in the life of a 14-year-old that would lead them to that path? And again, without having any information about it, and I could be completely wrong, but generally speaking, not speaking specifically about that case because I don't have any insights, but generally speaking, when I hear these kind of stories about young people, I think about the parents. I think about the adults. It's a letdown of the adults right there. 14 years old, charged with a murder for hire spree. Not a good look. Angela writes, read some of it aloud. No, I'm gonna do better than that. I'm gonna put it on the screen here. I did not receive the email. Let me check. Sometimes this stuff goes to your spam and your trash. Let me check in there. Yeah, I did not receive the email, but let me go ahead and put this up. This appears to be a screenshot. Just give me 1 second, family. I do things in front of everybody. It is what it is. Got a second here. I want to screenshot this. I want to put this screenshot up on the screen for you. Okay, there it is. All right, so give me 1 second. And hey, what's up, Andrea? What's up, Andrea? Absolutely. Absolutely. She wanted to connect on the line. Cool, let's connect. Okay, so I'm waiting for this email to come in. There it is. Okay, give me 1 second here. And then I'll just put this up on the screen for you, and you can check it out for yourself. And then we can have a little conversation about it. Again, this is just one screenshot, Angela and everybody. So there it is. That's not really big enough, is it? Yeah, I don't think that's really big enough for you to really see. Okay, so hold on. Let me take care of it. I might even have to take a quick break. What is it, 8:41? I might even have to take a quick break so I can more properly put this on the screen. It'll just take me a second or two. Because I think that image is just too small for people to really read it, especially if you're on a smartphone or something like that. You can't read that shit. I already know. So hold on a second. Let me see if I can blow it up for you and then put it on the screen and you can check it out for yourself. And then maybe at the same time, hold on 1 second. And then maybe at the same time, I can try to read some of this to you. Give me 1 second here. So summary, what the hell? Summary of the consolidated demands is dated 3303. 3303. Economic apartheid by revitalization of low-income deteriorated neighborhoods, beginning with investing $1.5 billion in public and private dollars to revitalize 9 low-income deteriorated neighborhoods in downtown and uptown Cincinnati to implement the approved updated neighborhood urban renewal or community development plans. B, implementing workforce development programs, property ownership, and race-based contracting with African-American entrepreneurs and businesses. Ending discriminatory lending practices by local lending institutions. Let me see here. That was bullet point 1. Number 2, bullet point 2, civil rights and equal justice to resolve civil rights and equal justice issues by A, seeking federal prosecutions of police officers and expedite family lawsuit settlements. B, requesting civil rights investigations by the Department of Justice and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. C, settling the various discrimination and civil rights complaints and lawsuits. Reopen the judicial restitution order in the Devereaux case. D, continuing to implement the federal settlement for reforms in the Cincinnati Police Department. Bullet point 3, politics and governance. I think I read through that. This is interesting. Health, to reduce health disparities, including physical, mental, and social health by A, increasing access and funding to reduce the health disparities among African Americans. What I think is interesting is that, the health disparities in the city and in the state are still being discussed. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but this predates the Center for Closing the Health Gap, and it might even be a prelude to the Center for Closing the Health Gap. Correct me if I'm wrong here, family, for folks that's got more information. Then there's something about education to improve educational achievement, performance, and participation by A, increasing funded activities to improve educational achievement, increasing the number of African-American teachers, especially males, incorporating Afrocentric curriculums, and increasing the number of students who pass proficiency tests and graduate, and reducing suspicions and explosions. It just goes to show you on some levels as I read this, just how in tune with the issues that the people behind this were, right? Because these are some of the same issues we still talking about. Like right now, you got youth groups talking about how they, and even CPS And again, family, it goes back to the point I made that to me, and I'm coming straight from my iconoclastic, side of my brain with this. The worst thing about the uprising of 2001 is that it only happened once. Now I know it was over a multi-day time frame, but once. If it had happened more, I think that we could have gotten more strides. Now, why do I say that? Because look at what happened last year when people hit the streets. When people hit the streets all over the country, including this city, all it did was help to amplify the issues post George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others, right? And what's come from it? So now you got the superintendent, you got school board members who are like, we do need more Afrocentric studies. Now they're moving more in that direction. But this was 20 years ago. This is 20 years ago when people were smart enough and intelligent enough to see, like, oh, here are the major issues here that need to be addressed. 20 years. 20 years. 20 years ago, they was talking about the lack of black male teachers. 20 years later, we're still bemoaning the lack of black male teachers. 20 years later. So I'm just saying, I think that, and again, this won't be a one-off conversation. This won't be a one-off conversation because I think that, I think black media, listen, I'm glad that legacy media and mainstream media is all over this and they're having these sit downs together. I think it's very interesting. You had Keith Famous sitting down with Damon Lynch and things like that. But black media needs a part of this as well. We need to be a part of this as well in a very substantial way. And we will be. So this won't be a first time conversation. And even though the anniversary was yesterday, I think reflecting on this will go into the future. You know what I'm saying? I think it's worthy of more reflection and more time and more conversation. And not so much just to point fingers, because in my opinion, if we're going to point fingers at anybody, we got to point fingers at ourselves. I cannot point a finger at anybody in this audience and say, what you doing, before I point the finger at myself and say, Nate, what am I doing? We all need to take that approach to the issues that we're dealing with. That is the most mature and I think the most functional way of dealing with it. Hands down, bar none, any day of the week. Hands down, bar none, any day of the week. That's just me. That's just me. Tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. I do have to make a move here, family. Hold on one second here. As I told you at the beginning of the show, it will not be a full show. My apologies on that, but I got to make a move. Something that I need to do on my end. So it looks like we'll probably rock until about 9:15, and then I got to make a move. Typically go until 10. It's unusual. I like to be with you as long as possible. Shit, there's been some days we went to 12 o'clock. Did a 4-5 hour show. Can't do that today. Okay. I'll be back with a normal time frame with you tomorrow. All right. So don't forget, today's show is sponsored by the good folks at renewcommunitychurch.org. I just want to make sure that all of my listeners know about this opportunity, okay? They're kicking off something new for the calendar year 2021. It's called, as you can see for yourself, the Focus 2021 series. As a part of it, they are offering a free 142-page ebook that you can download to whatever device you want. And it'll be a source of information, inspiration, and a resource for you as you're dealing with all sorts of things. It could just be the ups and downs of being human. You might be struggling with a business situation. And to that point, they're also offering 30 minutes of free professional coaching. Now, the offer of the coach for the coaching will end on Friday. So after Friday, that won't be available. So just make sure that if you're interested, that you get yourself in line. Make sure you reserve your spot today. Reserve your spot today. And if you've already signed up and you haven't heard anything back, it could be because you didn't fill out the waiver. That's a very, very important part of the process. So make sure you fill out all of the appropriate documents. And then when you do, and you start to go through it, I'm really curious as to what you think. People said, Nate, have you done it? Yes, I have done it. Yes, I do have the ebook. I did download to my phone. I am aware of it. And that's why I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about it. I'm very interested. 513-873-7134. Sister V writes, forgive me for not saying good morning to you all. No forgiveness necessary, sister. Sister V, good to see you. Okay, she said check the email. It finally went through. Let me check it right now. Oh, okay, okay, got it. Thank you. Got it. Got it. Oh, we got it now. I wonder if I could show this to you from my email. Hold on one second here. Let me try something real quick. This might work. And because I want you to be able to see it in a way. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right, we shining now. There we go. Can you see that? As you can see, I need to upgrade my email and all that kind of stuff. That is my personal email. I get it. Hold on one second. I get it. Um, let me see. Let me see where we at here. So can you see that? I think you can. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. Um, okay, so that means I can read it a lot better now. Okay, so let me see what's here. Let me see. The 2001 civil disturbances in Cincinnati occurred primarily in areas of black neighborhoods, best described as pockets of poverty and deterioration. I remember reading all these documents. I had copies of all of this just so I made sure I could be intelligent about what I was talking about back in the day. Underlying causes of the growing racial disparities. I mean, like I said, people didn't understand that these people weren't just like writing shit, and they weren't just writing shit down on a paper towel, right? Like, they put some time and thought into it. They put a lot of time and thought and energy into it to put together what became a very comprehensive list of demands. The Cincinnati boycott is now the longest economic sanction in a U.S. history. It now exceeds the famous Montgomery, Alabama bus boycott involving heroine Rosa Parks. Did you know that? Did you hear that? That's interesting. There was a big debate about whether there should be a boycott and all this kind of stuff. I was pro boycott. I'm pro boycott now because this predates cancel culture. Because why would I spend because sometimes people only pay attention when you hit them in the pockets, right? When you start costing them money, it's like, oh God, we got to pay attention. And black people continue to this day to spend their money with people that don't give a damn about you. Don't give a F about you. Will disrespect you and your mama and them in front of you. And then have their hands out talking about okay, pay me. Hell no. Hell no. If I go to a restaurant and I'm disrespected, I'm out the door. You ain't getting my money. Simple as that. If I hear about a company that's disrespecting black folks, I can't work with you. You can't get my dollars. So I have no problem. We had this big conversation about whether we needed to boycott or not. Get out of here. I mean, listen, people are so hypocritical about that. Everybody boycotts. Everybody is a part of cancel culture. Everybody does it. If you go into any kind of establishment and you feel like you was disrespected, what are you going to do? You're going to cancel their ass. You're going to wage a personal boycott. I have personal boycotts with a whole bunch of stuff in the city of Cincinnati. They can't never get my money, ever, because of stuff that's happened that I've seen or happened to me. There are places in this city I would never spend my money with. There are banks I would never spend my money with. So we all do this. We all do it on a personal level. You would be a damn fool to spend your money with somebody disrespecting you. Please. I remember these people. They got Bill Cosby not to come to the city of Cincinnati and other entertainers. I was about that life. I thought it was 100% what time it was. I understood it 100%. And I think even to this day, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I think as it relates to the boycott, that the boycott has been, this is just my opinion. You might feel differently, but in my opinion, the boycott has been the impact and the potential impact of the boycott in Cincinnati has been, underplayed. It's been undervalued. It's been underreported. And I think it's because they don't want us to know how much power we have when we collectively boycott. When we say, you know what, all of us are not going to spend our money with you. There's a real power in that. Black people are 42% of the city of Cincinnati. This shit don't work without us. This city cannot operate without us. They need us. No doubt about it, 100%. There's no way around that. There's no way around that. We just don't, many of us just don't realize it. Just don't get it. Don't understand the power in that unity type of thing. I'm just saying, I mean, if you disagree with me, okay. You know, I'm not going to shout you down and tell you wrong. I'm like, yeah, we can agree to disagree, but that's just how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Sarah writes, you need to superimpose that. I do. Anthony writes, they will go to a bar and talk about you, then get mad when they get recorded talking bad about you. Talking about Melanie Bates. She ain't gonna never let that down on this show. Number one, I'm never gonna let her let it down. Let her live it down because it's just so funny. She went to the bar talking crazy-ish. And she's still there. That is amazing. That is amazing, man. People have left their jobs for far less, but it is what it is. I know many people love Melanie Bates in the audience, so I ain't trying to hate on you. Do what you do. Do what you do. Jenny writes, I remember Bill Cosby boycotting here. Yeah, I think as I understand it, you know, they reached out to Bill Cosby and he responded like, oh, really? That's what they doing down there? I ain't coming. And then he just had more time to drug women. He's like, you know what? I got some girls coming over that weekend anyway. That's not funny. That's not funny at all. Not one bit. I know. It's a terrible joke, but I got a different kind of sense of humor. I've already said it, so it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Jason? He writes the most requested Nathan Ivey Good Morning Choppers. Hey, good to see you, brother. Make sure you check him out. Let me see. Brent writes, I agree with your statement, but it's the wordplay. By using child poverty invokes innocence and having no control over their own situation. It would elicit more sympathy and empathy as opposed to parental poverty. Right. Mm-hmm. Charlie Winburn writes, I'll be coming out with a new economic program for homeowners and businesses on Monday and will announce on Nate Ivey's show on Monday morning before I appear on other shows. Thanks a billion. Listen, let me say this again. I appreciate all the people that give a damn about what we're doing here and can see what we're building in the future that we're building for the community. I appreciate it because that's what it takes. I support everybody. I love that there's multiple options, media options in the city of Cincinnati. We need that. Why can't we have multiple media channels that's, you know, focus on us? Why can't we have that? What's wrong with that? Everybody else got that. Why can't we have that? So that's part of what, on one level, what I see, you know, my role is, the role of this show and CDM and whatever comes next. That's part of it. So I appreciate it. So we'll hear from Charlie Winburn first about his economic plan. And that's the issue that touches everybody. You know, no matter whether you're black or white or what, that's going to touch everybody in Hamilton County. I'm going to say it again. You got the Hamilton County treasurer in the house with you every morning on the show. Take that opportunity. Hit him up with some ideas. Shoot some ideas to him. I've gotten to know Mr. Winburn a lot better. He's open to it. He ain't going to shoot you down. Shoot him an email. Like, hey, you know, you ever thought about doing this? Yes, he's the interim Hamilton County treasurer, right? We already know what's going to happen in September. That's the way it is. And when it happened in September, we'll talk with the new Hamilton County treasurer as well. But until then, you got an opportunity. Take it. You might have and again, don't devalue your own ideas. You might have some spectacular ideas. Shoot them to them. Shoot them an email like, hey, you ever thought about this, Charlie? You never know. You never know. When you see these, you know, these local elected officials coming to the chop shop, use that opportunity. Hit them out with an email like, hey, listen, can I bend your ear a little bit? You know, I had an idea. Or you ever thought about this? Or why don't we do this? Or can we do this? Shoot them an idea. And it's one thing to leave it in the chop shop. Definitely do that. But hit them with an email. So it's more direct. Hit them with a direct message. You know, again, all the folks that I've got a chance to talk with are all open and receptive to that, to hearing from the public. I've never talked with an elected official who said they weren't open to talking with the public. School board. I'm joking. I'm joking. I've never I've never heard that. What I hear from them is we want to hear from you.
Good morning, Dad Choppers.
Black Panthers. You didn't know Black Panther is a part of the show? Yeah.
It was a message from Black Panther.
Now you know as a black father, you know I love it when he's got that Black Panther. You know I'm in heaven. What black father don't want his kid to have a Black Panther doll? You know what I'm saying? I'm loving it. Captain who? Man, you better pick up Black Panther. So yes, Black Panther is a part of the show. You didn't know that, right? See, a little surprise. You don't get that on every show. You get me, you get Junior, and you get Black Panther. And sometimes me and Buddha and a wifey will pop in and say hi from time to time too. You get it all. It's called Black Love. That's what that's called. All day, every day. Angela writes, boycotting takes discipline and tenacity. True words. True. True. Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to Kabaka Abba, man. Shout out to Kabaka Abba. Again, a lot of people used to ridicule these folks. I always had nothing but respect for them because I could see with my own eyes. And when I can see something with my own eyes, oh, I can get behind it then. Kabaka Abba. Remember that? Oh, I used to love to hear Kabaka Abba get on the radio because he used to go hard in the paint. Hard in the paint. Last time I saw that brother, man. Damn, last time I saw that brother was I was downtown walking with the family on Serpentine Walls. Ran into him. He was down there with another brother. So of course, we broke bread. Black man to black man. Said what's up. Again, I had nothing but respect. It didn't mean I agree with everything that came out of somebody's mouth, but again, I think that we gotta respect the people that's out there doing it. We have to show respect for that. Even if you ain't out there doing it, the very least you can do is get these individual respect. Don't mean you agree with every word they say. And he was killed by a black man on some dumb shit. Was it Howard Beatty killed him? On the steps of City Hall or in front of City Hall. Just sad. We sometimes can be our own worst enemy, quite honestly. That brother was out here fighting against or fighting for the benefit of the community, fighting against, oppression. Some might even say white supremacy, and gets killed by a black man on some dumb shit. I think they were squabbling over some small stuff. I don't think it was all that big. See what we do to one another? Just saying. That happened in April too. That was April 2006. That was April 2006. And I don't know, I guess they got into a fight or something. One man confronted another man, but I'm not telling you I have all the details. Obviously it was serious because, gunplay was involved, but I'm just saying, look at what we do to one another. You know what I'm saying? It's a damn shame. And I'll say it again, we got some Judases among us, like Judas and the Black Messiah. We got some Judases in the black community in Cincinnati. We got some folks that's black, but their actions is everything against, the advancement of the multiple interests of black people in particular in the city of Cincinnati. They spend more time trying to tear down other black people than they do trying to uplift people in general. So it's quite sad. It really is. It's quite sad. Let me see. Angela writes, they let economic impact one weekend has on the city, a huge hit in their pockets. Oh, absolutely. The purpose of words and images is strictly to make one believe or disbelieve in something, which has been very successful with making black Americans feel helpless and hopeless. I don't feel helpless. I'm way beyond helpless and hopeless. Hell no. Mm-mm. No. I don't feel that way at all. Nothing could be further from the truth. You know what I'm saying? And we could together collectively are way, way, way more influential than we are as individuals. Sister Iris writes, reached out to Bill Cosby, Prince, Mary J., National Baptist Conference, all canceled because of the sanctions of travel and tourism. Yeah. Prince, I remember that now. That's interesting. Yeah, and it worked. Charlie Wimber put his number here. I told you. So you can call the current Hamilton County treasurer this morning and bend his ear and say, yo, look, why don't you do this? Or can you do this? Or here's a few ideas. Or hey, in another city, they're doing this. I think it might work here in Hamilton County. That's an amazing opportunity. Take it while he's in office. That is an amazing opportunity you have. Take it for those that's inclined to do so. Like you might be like, I don't have no ideas. Cool. I ain't hating on you. I'm not saying I got a whole bunch of ideas. I'm just saying like, we got to see opportunities for what they really are. He writes, just call me. So there it is. There's his number. 513-884-7832 to my people that might be on Spreaker. You're not watching the live feed. Again, if you want to call the Hamilton County treasurer this morning, you can call him at 513-884-7832. Shoot him a text like, hey, in Minneapolis, they doing whatever it might be, or whoever it is. And there's nothing wrong with poaching an idea from another city. Like if you see another city, they put something in place, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, why can't we do that here? And then moving to try to put it in place here or wherever you might live. I'm talking about Hamilton County because that's where I'm at right now. But I'm just saying you have an amazing opportunity. Take it. See, Kelly Prather's in the house. How you doing, Kelly? Good to see you. Oh, she made the rounds yesterday. Sister V writes, you're exactly right, Nathan. Don't underestimate Charlie Wimber. No, I'm just saying. I mean, I know we have fun with Charlie. He's a good sport and, people joke and that's always going to be there. We should do that because media should be fun. Like the media I want to do, I want to have an element of fun in it. But on a serious tip, you got a real opportunity. Take it. So on Monday, when we talk with Charlie Wimber, the Hamilton County treasurer, and he talks about his plans, you might have some thoughts. Share them. When we talk with these mayoral candidates and city council candidates, hit them up. Hey, what's up, Matt? Thanks for the friend request. Good morning to you. Hit them up. Ask them some questions. Shoot some ideas to them. Why wouldn't you? But what you can't, what I don't respect, because you can't do, but what I don't respect is when you have these opportunities and people don't take it and you want to bellyache and complain. I'm like, wait a minute, he was just in the room with you. You could have reached out and asked him then. You know what I'm saying? So take these opportunities, man, because they are fleeting. Tomorrow is not promised. She writes, Wakanda forever. You know it. Why can't we build our own Wakanda? Matter of fact, we're building our own Wakanda right now with this show, with CDM, our podcast, with some new voices. Why can't we? Absolutely we can. Kelly writes, good morning, Prince Ivy. Talking about my son. He don't care. He just comes walking straight in. Iris writes, love Junior Black Panther, #SUN. Absolutely. Elaine writes, Wakanda forever. Absolutely. Yeah, he got the act. You know, if he gonna have some action figures, you already know the boy is gonna have Black Panther. He's like, Dad, who do you like more, Iron Man or Black Panther? Black Panther. Dad, who do you like more, Thor or Black Panther? Black Panther. Hey, Dad, who do you like more, Captain America or Black Panther? So now he don't even ask me no more. He already know what the answer is. It's gonna be Black Panther every single time. Period. Listen, if we go in the Marvel superhero route, we're going with the King of Wakanda in this household. Every day, all day. Period. He can play with his other toys, but the Wakanda with the Black Panther doll, it's Daddy's personal favorite. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like I said, there was no Black Panther when I was his age. I'm running around here playing with fucking Superman dolls and Batman. You know what I'm saying? On some self-loathing type shit on the low and don't even know it because you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? Some cultural appropriation type shit. Don't even know it because you're a kid. You don't know no better. I wish we had a Black Panther movie out when I was a kid. Man, I wouldn't wear my Black Panther outfit to school every day. So now that we have it, I want him to enjoy it. We need more Black superheroes. Michael writes, you're going to have to start paying Junior for a guest spot. Yeah, he's the best part about the show. Toy writes, I live for your son's cameo appearance. I was thinking about going back and getting all of his cameos and just making like a little a mashup of all of them. I think that might be interesting to some people. It's all about, we all about representing Black love. You know what I'm saying? The Black love that a father has for his child. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about for his family. I think that's very, very important. I think it's very, very important. Iris writes, we all need a Black Panther doll. Absolutely. Y'all might miss it, but sometimes I put him up on the bookshelf behind me. He's just sitting there looking over me. Yes. I just do it. Yes, and loving the Black love. That's what it's all about. It's about Black love. I did a show with Kabaka Abba down the dial. He was scuffed back then. A good brother. He gave no F's. Yeah, he was real. He was serious. All these people are serious. None of these people to be taken lightly. They are not to be played with. None of them. Don't do it. You're going to get your feelings hurt. They're going to hurt your feelings. You're going to be mad. You're going to call them, you're like, I don't like such and such. You leave the motherfuckers alone then. You ain't got to worry about it. But, they took all that energy that we need Black people with guts. You know what I'm saying? We need Black people with intestinal fortitude. You know what I'm saying? We got too many. I'm not going to go on the negative side, but I'm just saying we need more Black people with guts that's not afraid to say what they got to say with whoever. No matter who it is. Now, of course, that don't mean you're trying to be impolite just for the sake of it, but, sometimes as an adult, there's a certain way you got to conduct yourself. I like those kind of people, quite honestly. I like people that ain't afraid to tell me about myself. I like those kind of people. I like the kind of people that ain't afraid to speak their mind at all times. I surround myself with those kind of people, quite honestly. I love those kind of relationships. It's a yin and a yang to it now. But I would prefer that over any other type of relationship. I would always prefer somebody to keep it 100 with me, even if it's something they think that I'm not going to like. Because, if you got a point, you got a point. And if you don't, you don't. And it's just what it is. But those are the kind of people that we need and have had on the front lines here in the city of Cincinnati, in my opinion. You might feel differently. It's just my opinion. Annie's in the house. She writes, good morning. Good to see you, Ann. Good to see you. Rachel writes, good morning, family. Good to see you. Angela writes, voting PSA, go online and check your registration. My polling place has changed from where I voted in November. Is that right? Thank you for the heads up, sis. I will make sure that I keep the word out there and definitely do it for myself. Let me think. When did you check? You checked this year? You're saying it changed between last election and this election, the upcoming election with the primary? That's interesting. Only thing we had growing up was Black exploitation movies teaching us how to be pimps and hoes and sell dope. Yeah, that was part of the Black exploitation era. I mean, there were some movies that had, I think, more substantive and I think more positive sort of imagery. But yeah, you're right. There was a lot of movies like that in the Black exploitation era, which I think was a very important pop cultural moment in American history, in my opinion. I used to spend a lot of time talking about that. She said just now. Okay. Let me see. Hey, Nate, on your PPE loan application, do you include Little Man as an employee? Crossing T's and dotting I's. See, there you go. No, I don't. No, he's juiced in. Whatever daddy gets, he get. Whatever mommy gets, he gets. That's how it goes. Went to print out sample ballot to early voting. It's changed. Now, you can tell I'm having a great time because I love doing this show. I love talking with you. This is what I do. This is my business. I enjoy it on so many different levels, but I've got to make a move. Unfortunately, I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. It's 7:30 a.m. It'll be a full show. We'll talk about everything. Okay, you got Midday Juice today at 1 p.m. with Ask Ashley. Make sure you check her out. And then, of course, tomorrow, you got It's Just Me podcast with Donnie B. She's always spitting facts and flames, and it'll always be very, very entertaining show. So make sure you check it out. If you're like, what show you talking about? Where you been? You're on our Facebook page. If not, go to our Facebook page, CIN Digital Media, and check out the podcast that we're doing right now. and tell me what you think. So I gotta make a move, family. I don't want to. As you can see, I'm in a groove right now, and I can keep this going. There's so many things to talk about. Hold on, let me check my time frame again. Hold on, give me 1 second, because maybe I can squeeze a little bit more time out of here. Because we've been talking about this. We've been talking about just what's happening with the 20-year time frame between the social unrest, not a riot, the social unrest, or I would call it I think the best way to call it would be an uprising, in my opinion. And I looked at all the definitions this morning to make sure I was 100. But that would be the best way, in my opinion. That's how I look at it. That's what it was for me. Might be something different for you. But there's so much else to talk about. Like, I want to talk about this brother, Deshaun Jackson. Have you seen some of this stuff that's happening with these women that are coming out? Apparently, they got like 30 something women that came out and said that he basically was like doing like sexual assault on them because he was nude during a sports massage. Now, one thing I know is that sports massages are a real thing. Like, we should all be so lucky to have a sports massage after we work out, because it's going to be great for your body. It's going to be great for your recovery. It's going to help with the building of your muscle mass. It's going to be great for you all the way around, right? So that's not a big deal for me to hear about an athlete who's getting a sports massage. But now I'm reading. I mean, he's got all these women that's coming out and saying he did something strange. Now, most of them are looking for. To me, it looks like they're looking for like a civil settlement, like his money. I don't know whether he did something or not. I don't know that. Just yesterday. Hold on, let me see here. Let me see if I can find this. I mean, she was tearful and everything, man. Like, this is a real thing. Like, they going after bro. Y'all see this? They is lining up. And when I watched the video, she was like, "Oh, I love to do massages." And, I don't want to just come out and just make a blanket statement and say I don't believe her and believe these women. I don't want to do that. I think that's unfair. I think at the same time, I don't want to make a blanket statement and say I think he's guilty. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find a good image for you. It ain't looking good for Deshaun Watson. He just lost money with his Nike deal. Y'all see this? I know it's completely, different from our topic this morning, but it's just something that I thought that will be worthy of a conversation. And brothers, watch yourself out there. Watch yourself. But I'll probably get into it more tomorrow. It'll be Friday. That'll be a perfect time to kind of sum the week up. All right. So I'll leave it for then. And it's 9:18 and I got to make a move. So have an excellent rest of your day, family. Again, check out and download your free ebook this morning. There's a link in today's description at renewcommunitychurch.org. Again, renewcommunitychurch.org. It's a part of the Focus 2021 series. You can also get signed up for 30 minutes of free coaching. That's 30 minutes of free professional coaching. It could be on a business issue or a personal issue or a spiritual issue. It'll be up to you. All right. The last day to sign up for the free professional coaching is Friday. Saturday is too late. Sunday is too late. Monday is too late. Friday is the last date. The ebook will be available for you to download into the future. And there's a link in today's description. Check it out for yourself. I'll say it again. This is my humble, iconoclastic opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But in my opinion, the worst thing about the uprising of 2001 is that we didn't do it more. There weren't more uprisings. We should have uprising every 5 years. Because it seems to me that, like, when people hit the streets, that's when the powers that be start to really pay attention. Other than that, they're like, man, sit your ass down. But that's just me. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I'll be back with you and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. Until then, I'm Nate Ivy. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. I'm out.